Let's look at how to manage vendors in Hydroscribe. We're going to begin by clicking Financials, and then we're going to click on Manage Vendors. And as you can see, it brings me up a list of my current vendors. If you don't have any vendors inside of Hydroscribe, you'll be put in the add mode automatically. So let's take a look at one of my vendors so we can just look around. So to look at a vendor, I simply click on the vendor in the list, and it brings up the vendor profile. The vendor profile up at the top has the vendor account. Now to look at the details for the vendor account, we click the edit button, and it brings up the details for this particular vendor. Now we'll be adding a vendor, and at that time we will go over some of these input fields. For now, I'm just going to go back to that display. And below the vendor account are the unpaid bills for that vendor that are in the system at the moment. And then below that is a list of the paid bills. Let's take a look around. So I'm going to click on a paid bill, and it brings up the bill. As you can see, we have the details of the vendor up at the top, and then the items on the bill below that. We have other videos that explain how to add bills, add paid bills, add unpaid bills, and how to pay bills inside of Hydroscribe. So please refer to those videos for different topics. For now, I'm just going to go back to my list. Now, I can, from here, hit the cancel button, and it will take me back to the display. Click the cancel button. It takes me back to my display. However, if I'm within the bills and I just want to look at bills, I can click on the bills link at the top, and it will show me my bills. Now, as you can see, there are three buttons here. One allows you to see just paid bills, and you'll see the paid bills are always in this orange color. One will allow you to see unpaid bills, and you see they're in white, or you can look at all the bills. Okay, so that's a quick way of looking at the bills for a particular vendor. Anyway, now we're going to go back, and this time I'm going to actually add a vendor to the system. So to add a vendor, I simply click on the green add button, and it brings up a blank add vendor screen. So now we're going to type in some of this information. I'm actually going to set up Home Depot. And this Home Depot is located at 12165 Drive. And their phone number is 80, and they're in the city of Poway, California, zip code 92064. Now you can enter the terms, and I'm going to enter terms here of 1, 10 net 30. So there's the 10 and the 30. And what that means is my bill with this vendor is due, payment is due 30 days after I receive the invoice, or within 30 days of receiving the invoice. If I go beyond that, I'm going to be considered late. But if I pay this bill within 10 days of receiving it, the vendor will give me a 1% discount. So that's known as a 110 net 30, or some people just say 10 net 30. Okay, to continue, I'm going to put in my account with Home Depot, so 11872, and then the federal tax ID number. That is the number that identifies Home Depot to the federal government. So it's 953 261 426. So now I've added the tax ID number. The last field says, is this a vendor to whom I am going to send a 1099 form? Well, I won't be sending a 1099 form to Home Depot because Home Depot is a corporation and you're not required to send 1099 forms to corporations. So I simply click the submit button, and it gives me my success message. And now I can go look at my list of vendors. And as you can see, Home Depot has been added. Now, there's one other thing I'd like to show you. Go ahead and click on the vendor. And what I'm going to do is go back into the vendor account. And this time down at the bottom, you'll see hide extra information. There are a few extra input boxes that do not show up on the screen by default. To see them, you must clear the checkbox. And there they are. You can put in, for example, the name of the company's headquarters, the year they were established, what type of business structure they have, physical location, and some contact information. All of that is optional, so you don't have to put it in. In any case, that's how you manage vendors within Hydroscribe. Now, the last note here is this. Once you add vendors to the system, you will also notice that you can delete vendors. To delete a vendor, all you do is click in the checkbox and click the delete button. However, you should never delete a vendor that has details such as bills added for them. So if you add bills or any kind of information attached to this vendor, you should not delete the vendor. The only time you'd be okay in deleting a vendor is if you've just added that vendor and then you discover that that vendor was already in the system. You can go ahead and delete the duplicate. Okay, so that's how you manage vendors in Hydroscribe.